Greetings everyone, what's up? Evan here, back again. Today I'm going to bring you a $4,000 gaming PC computer build, which is much higher than some of the previous gaming computer builds that I've done in the past, but instead of price to performance, we're going to be kind of going for a more what-if theoretical build today. We're going to have some really great high-end components here. We don't have to cut any corners. We don't have to worry about the price point as much as we do in some of the previous gaming PC builds. This is more of a build that can have a lot of variance. It can have a lot of opinions. It can have a lot of different options, as I'll mention further along. So I'm just going to get right into the components that I have selected for my ultimate $4,000 gaming PC computer build. To start off, we have the Intel Core i7-5960X 3.0 GHz 8-core processor. A great CPU by Intel, has a very high single-core performance, and it is a true 8-core processor that you aren't sacrificing gaming performance on, unlike some of the AMD counterparts which have a low single-core performance. Intel has made a great CPU here. This CPU is about a year old now, but it runs off the LGA 2011 version 3 socket. It supports up to 64 gigabytes of DDR4 memory, and overall is a great CPU. It'll be able to handle not only just gaming. This CPU should be able to handle video rendering, video editing, intense Photoshop, 3D animation, all kinds of really intensive computer tasks. This CPU should be able to power through with no problem. Moving on, I went with a Corsair H110 94.0 CFM liquid closed-loop CPU cooler. Closed-loop CPU coolers, especially liquid ones, should be just fine. They're fairly safe. They don't leak very often at all. They're quiet, a lot more quiet than an air cooling solution would be for trying to cool a CPU of this magnitude. And overall, the Corsair H110 is tried and true, has very good ratings. A lot of gaming PC builds of this magnitude do utilize a Corsair cooler, the H series of some kind, be it the H100i or the H110. So overall, this is a highly recommended CPU cooler, and I think it'll serve you great in a gaming PC build such as this. Moving on from that, for motherboard, we've got a Gigabyte X99 Gaming 5P Extended ATX LGA 2011 version 3 motherboard. Overall, it's a great motherboard, supports 4-way Crossfire or SLI, has 8 RAM ports. Of course, it's LGA 2011 version 3, so it supports our CPU. Has an 8-pin external CPU or CPU power. Has plenty of USB ports, PS2 ports, audio jacks. Should support just about everything that you need. Some of the features are listed here. Supports up to 10 SATA ports, all new heatsink design, 4-channel DDR4 memory, Gigabyte Thunderbolt add-in card, noise guard, and a whole bunch of other frills and stuff that you should be able to see for a motherboard in this price point. And this motherboard clocks in at about $300. So, of course, you should be able to see some extra frills, some extra features that you wouldn't see with the base grade motherboards, even on the X99 scale. And it's extended ATX, which means it's a larger motherboard than the standard sized ATX boards, and such things won't be quite as cramped. You get more features onto the board, and it overall just seems to work better for a price point of this level and of this magnitude. Moving on for memory, we've got some G.Skill's Ripjaws 4 Series 64 gigabytes, 8x8 gigabytes of DDR4 2133 memory. Overall, it's great memory. If we go ahead and visit the Newegg page here, it has very solid reviews. Out of 3, it's got 5 eggs. It's only $320, which is a fairly good price point for 64 gigs of memory. Of course, this is overkill for gaming, but for $4,000, why not? Might as well go for it. Clocks in at DDR4 2133 memory, which is a very high clock speed compared to the previous generation DDR3 memory, and it's great that this CPU does actually support DDR4 memory. And it's red, so it matches the color schemes with the motherboard, and as we'll see the case later on in the build. For storage, starting off, we have a Crucial MX200 1TB 2.5-inch solid-state drive. It's amazing how cheaply you can actually get a 1 terabyte, 1,000 gigabyte solid-state drive for only about $320. That might seem like a lot, but compared to several years ago, 1 terabyte solid-state drive was unheard of. I don't think you could even get it, or it'd be in the multi-thousands of dollars range. And it's really amazing how solid-state drives are becoming cheaper and cheaper, and I think eventually we're going to see the complete phase-out of the mechanical hard drives in favor of flash memory. Of course, flash memory is more stable, less data loss, less wattage used, and it was overall just more reliable than the mechanical counterparts. Of course, it's also more quiet. You can't actually hear the drive spin up, and it's available instantly as opposed to having to wait for drives to spin up to actually access the data on them. But in case that 1 terabyte wasn't enough, we're also going to include a Toshiba X300 4 terabyte, 3.5 inch, 7200 RPM internal hard drive. It's a great hard drive. It has good reviews. It's 4 terabytes. It's a whopping amount of storage space. It's good for videos. It's good for photos. It's good for a massive game library. Really, if you're using more than 4 terabytes of data, you're really in the top 1% of users that is actually using that much storage space. 4 terabyte plus the additional 1 terabyte for a total of 5 terabytes should be more than enough for 99% of the computer users out there, and should be more than enough for any sort of media that you could be storing to your PC. For a video card, we're going to go with an SLI setup for the EVGA GeForce GTX 980 Ti 6GB for the Win Edition. EVGA actually has quite a few different GTX 980 Ti's available. I went with the For the Win Edition because it's a higher clocked card. And if we go ahead here and we view some of the reviews on Newegg and some of the specifications, we're going to be able to see that this card is very popular. It's a very popular brand. EVGA has always made a very solid product, in my opinion. And this For the Win Edition has 5 out of 5 eggs and 30 ratings. It clocks in around $670, which is right in the middle of the $600 to $700 price point that I had to work with, given the other components that I had selected. So between this, the 980 Ti counterpart, the counterpart for the 980 Ti is basically the Radeon AMD Fury X. Based upon the performance of Fury X, the EVGA 980 Ti has advantage in multiple places, including the fact that overall it might have slightly less SLI efficiency. I believe it gains about 78 to 76% efficiency by adding a second card, whereas the Fury X gains about 80 to 82% efficiency by adding a second Fury X into your system build. But the fact that you're going to be gaining an extra 4 gigs of video memory for instead of 8 gigabytes, because the Fury X only has 4 gigs on each card, you're going to gain 6 gigs on each card. That's going to really help you when you get up into 1440p and 4K gaming resolutions, because the higher resolutions really eat up that video memory, and you're going to really want that extra 4 gigs of VRAM, which is one of the reasons that I decided to go with the 980 Ti over the Fury X. Of course, you can argue for the Fury X all you want. It does have some advantages, including raw floating point performance and that sort of thing. But overall, I believe the 980 Ti is just really a better card for a wider range, so to speak, of applications. For a case to put all these components in, we're going to go with the Corsair 760T Black ATX full tower case. This case does support the extended ATX motherboard. It's a great looking case. It keeps it with our red theme. It has a full side panel, window and door. It has great cable management for routing your nasty cables behind the motherboard so that you don't see them. It has plenty of drive bay space. It has front panel bays for your all your optical drives and that sort of thing. If you want to go with that, or if you want to get an SD card reader or whatever to put into the front panel, you can do that as well. It has included case fans for a great storage solution, and will support our radiator for our CPU cooler, the H100, H110, I believe. So really, this case is going to support everything that you need to have in a gaming PC of this magnitude, and I believe it's priced appropriately, about $170, which is really all you want to spend for a case in this price range, in my opinion. For power supply, we've got an EVGA SuperNOVA G2 1600 watt gold 80 plus certified fully modular ATX power supply. It's a bit overkill because this rig only draws about 800 watts power, but it leaves room for plenty of upgrades in the future. It's always nice to have a solid quality power supply. It's always nice to have plenty of overhead so you don't have to worry about wattage constraints in the future if you do want to upgrade. And overall, power supply can be transferred from system to system. It's EATX, it's standardized. You're not going to have any problems transferring this to even another gaming PC, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. It'll still be more than enough power and has a quality assurance that'll last. So that's why I decided to go with the EVGA SuperNOVA G2 power supply. Finally, to finish off, we've got the LG Blu-ray DVD CD-ROM writer and reader. Really, just why not have a Blu-ray drive in your gaming PC so that you can read and write to Blu-ray discs if you want to store physical media, or if you want to watch Blu-rays, you can on your great 4K or 1440p gaming solution. It's always nice to have a Blu-ray option. In my opinion, physical media is still used enough, at least in my opinion, in my circumstances, that it warrants still investing that extra $50 or so in an optical drive. So the total price comes out to around $4,000 or $3,937.78. Pretty close in my opinion, around $60 off or $60 under. The thing is, with a $4,000 gaming PC build, at least in my opinion, there are a lot of different options you can go with for a gaming PC of this magnitude. This is really getting to more than not what you need, but more so what you want. Many people are not going to need a gaming PC of this magnitude, and if you're going to be needing a PC of this magnitude, you don't really need it for gaming. A gaming PC of the $2,000 price range will max out just about any title available on the market today. So when you're getting into this point, really you're going to be catering to your specific needs and wants, whether you're going to be doing 3D animation, rendering 4K video, you do a lot of multi-layered Photoshop projects or that sort of thing. Maybe you want to host several games on a standalone server box, whatever you want to be doing. This is really a gaming PC or just a PC workstation in general that's going to have a lot of power behind it, the ability to do a lot of different applications, and overall, I think this is a good balance. There aren't a lot of bottlenecks. There's going to be a pretty good price to performance ratio here, and a whole lot of future proofing. Leave a comment down below if you have another $4,000 gaming PC build that you want to come up with. Leave a comment. I always enjoy reading those sorts of things. And if you enjoyed what you see here and you watched all the way to the end of me babbling on about these components, drop a like or even subscribe. It really helps me out and helps me continue on with these sort of gaming PC builds. I really enjoy doing them, and they seem to be my most popular series on my channel right now. Of course, I always do some gaming videos on the side as well. I also do some highlight reels and that sort of thing, all kinds of different stuff on my channel. So if you want to check that out, I'd really appreciate it. And thanks for watching, everyone.